Good afternoon. My name is Erin Bennell. I am a Senior Broadband Program Coordinator here at the Texas Broadband Development Office. Thank you all for joining the Texas Broadband Development Office in the final episode of our Texas BEAD Challenge webinar series. This is the fourth one. Throughout this series, the BDO will provide updates and demonstrations of the various phases of the challenge process. All webinars will be recorded and posted on the BDO website to rewatch, share, and refer to as the BEAD Challenge process develops. For today's webinar, we will be going over the rebuttal phase specifically. By the end of this webinar, participants should be familiar with the types of evidence required for the rebuttal phase and feel ready to take the next steps for the rebuttal phase of the challenge process. So first, we are going to provide a recap of the challenge process. The challenge phase lasted from December 3rd through December 17th. Within those 2 weeks, the BDO received 3,012 challenges in total, with our top challenge types being availability and planned service challenges. We are still in the process of reviewing all submitted challenges and submitted revisions. The BDO will be completing our review on January 9th in time for the rebuttal phase to begin. And with that, we'll jump right into the overview of the rebuttal phase. The rebuttal phase is scheduled to start on January 10th, which is this Friday, and will run through January 24th, 2025. The BDO is in the process of posting all challenges and rebuttals publicly prior to final determinations and will be excluding any personal and proprietary information. Eligible rebutters include challenged broadband service providers and challenged community anchor institutions. You will be able to know if you have received a challenge against your organization and your reported data by signing into the portal that you have previously registered for and see all of the challenges against your organization. And with that, we will provide a little video with all of the types of rebuttal evidence for your review.
Review examples of rebuttal evidence. As a reminder, the rebuttal period will begin on January 10th and end on January 24th. Questions on policy should be directed to broadband@cpa.texas.gov, and questions on technical support should be directed to txhelpdesk@ready.net. In this brief PowerPoint, we'll cover examples of rebuttal evidence for availability, business service only, data cap, technology, enforceable commitments, planned service, and CAI related challenges. Availability rebuttals. If you have received an availability challenge, be prepared to respond with some of the following rebuttal evidence examples. The challenged ISP shows the location subscribes or has subscribed within the past 12 months. If the evidence was a screenshot and believed to be an error, a screenshot that shows service availability, or the challenged ISP submits evidence that service is now available via a standard installation. Here are some screenshot examples that would suffice as a rebuttal. Consider including a short written narrative that provides some color to your rebuttal response. Business service only rebuttals. For this rebuttal, you should submit documentation that the service listed in the FCC's Broadband Data Collection Program is available at the location and is marketed to consumers. Similar to an availability rebuttal, you may need some sort of documentation or explanation that the location is indeed marketed or to residential consumers. Data cap rebuttals. In order to rebut a data cap challenge, please upload your terms of service showing that it does not impose an unreasonable data cap or offers another plan at the location without an unreasonable cap. Take note of the screenshot on the right. Technology rebuttals. In order to rebut this challenge, the ISP should upload opposing evidence from their network management system showing an appropriate residential gateway that matches the ISP service. While we don't have a specific example to share, a screenshot here would suffice for this rebuttal type. Enforceable commitment rebuttals. In order to rebut this challenge, please provide documentation that the ISP has defaulted on the commitment or is otherwise unable to meet the commitment. Take note of the public notice file on the right, acknowledging an enforceable commitment default. Planned service rebuttals. In order to rebut a planned service challenge, you must show the ISP is no longer able to meet the commitment. Permitting is unlikely to be obtained in time to meet the deployment deadline, or that the planned deployment does not meet the required technology or performance requirements. The more evidence you submit here, the greater the likelihood of your rebuttal being accepted. See attached photos for some rebuttal examples. Location is a CAI. In order to rebut this challenge, please upload any sort of evidence that acknowledges the location is not a CAI. These usually come in the form of screenshots. And lastly, location is not a CAI. To rebut this challenge, please provide evidence that the location falls within the definitions of a CAI, essentially the inverse of the previous slide. As a reminder, the rebuttal period will begin on January 10th and end on January 24th. Questions on policy should be directed to broadband@cpa.texas.gov, and questions on technical assistance should be directed to TX Helpdesk at ready.net. Thank you.
And before we wrap up, we'll go over some next steps and point you in the direction of some additional resources. To register for the participation in the challenge process, please visit us at register.broadband.texas.gov. All ISPs, local government leaders, and nonprofits are eligible to participate in the challenge process. If you did not register to submit challenges, you will still need to register in order to submit any rebuttal evidence. And also regularly check for updates on the Texas BDO newsletter and the Texas BDO website. Registration will close January 22nd. Beyond today's session, you can find additional resources on the BDO's website, including our initial proposal, Volume 1 and Volume 2, and the recordings of our previous webinars. A recording of today's webinar will be posted on the website shortly. And with that, we will take all of your questions. Yes, Brian.
Hey, Aaron. Thanks for the information. I was just wondering if you could just clarify something for us with regards to current challenges. When we open up a challenge and it says there's I think an initial process and a final processing, right? Or initial, I can't remember the exact word, initial ruling, final ruling. Is the initial kind of what will carry it through the challenge and rebuttal phase? And then when is that final ruling going to be passed? Is that after the verification phase, or when does that come along?
Right. So initial challenge, and I'm actually going to ask Clint just to clarify, because there is a little bit of a process going on with the Broadband Development Office. We are reviewing all challenges, and we have to go through our own review process as set by CPA standards. So our vendor provides some guidance, and then we make final determinations on the status of all challenges, whether or not they're accepted or rejected. So Clint, if you could clarify whether or not the final determination is saved for the very, very end, at the end of the rebuttal period.
Yes, we will wait until that every decision has been made on all the challenges and rebuttals.
Thanks, Clint.
Okay, thank you.
So we have a question from someone in the chat. So all registered challengers will see all 3,012 challenges as of January 10th.
Clint, can you clarify? I believe all challengers will be able to see the challenges submitted against their organization.
Correct. Yeah. If a challenge was rejected or withdrawn, those aren't posted. And then there's ones that are what's called open challenges, meaning it's not against a specific provider, but it's more of like an enforceable commitment or planned service or something against that. Yeah. Then anyone that's registered would be able to see those open rebuttal challenges.
All challengers and the entire public will be able to see the challenges submitted and the rebuttals received, along with final determination at the completion of the BEAD Challenge process.
Thank you, Erin. We have another question in the chat. Do you all know what time on Friday you anticipate the challenges to become available for review?
We will have those challenges available by 12:01 a.m. for you to start reviewing, and they will be available through the entire rebuttal period.
Well, we just got another question. Will all of the challenges be released at once, or will more come in after the initial release?
All challenges will be available at 12:01 a.m. on January 10th.
Got another question in the chat, Erin. Is there a graphic for what we need to look for in the portal if we get a rebuttal?
Sorry, Stephanie, just to clarify, are you asking if your organization received a challenge, is there a graphic, or if someone submitted a rebuttal against your challenge? Oh, you will not be notified of a rebuttal against your challenge until the end of the BEAD Challenge process when we release the final determinations.
Okay, looks like we have a couple more questions now, Erin. First, will we get an email about what a challenge location, or will they just be posted on the portal?
They will be posted on the portal. Clint, I'm so sorry. Could you clarify if they'll receive email notifications as well?
Will we get an email about a challenge location, or will it just be posted? The locations have already been challenged. Are you saying a rebutted?
I think they're asking if they'll receive an email notification that they have been challenged.
Oh, yes. Yep, those will go out. If you've been challenged, make sure and check your spam folders. We've had some people that didn't get revision request emails because it went to their spam folder. So we see it was sent but never opened. So be sure to check those spam folders. Or I will put the email to look out for in the chat.
Thank you, Clint. All right, Erin, we've got another one. One of my challenges was rejected due to it being considered a duplicate challenge submission, but the locations listed on the two challenges are for separate BSL points that all have the same location address. This is for a school that has 4 separate buildings with different equipment at 2 of the buildings with a road separating them. Since it was on 4 different BSL locations, why was one of the challenges rejected even though it was for different BSL locations and had different equipment?
Great question. Just because of the complexity of that question, would you be able to email us at broadband@cpa.texas.gov with the challenge number? And that way we can look at our notes and double check all of the evaluation and review process just to make sure we are able to give you the correct information.
Thank you, Erin. We've got another one. Will the approved challenges be considered subgrantees, or is there a separate process to apply for funding?
There is a separate process for funding. The BEAD Challenge process is designed specifically to determine the final list of eligible locations for funding. So after the approval of the results of the BEAD Challenge process, the BDO will be able to take that final list of eligible locations and basically put it into our notice of funding opportunity and release that for when we are ready to start receiving applications for those eligible locations. More information about what that subgrantee selection and application process is going to look like will be coming very soon. But if you would like to get a head start, you can review our approved initial proposal volume 2, which is currently available on our website.
Someone is asking, when will those emails go out?
Those emails will go out on the 10th in the morning for you to wake up, sign into work, and be able to start reviewing those challenges. If you are looking for an email address to remove from spam to make sure that you receive notification of those challenges, Clint has added the no reply email that all of those notifications will be coming from.
Oh, hold on. We just got one. Would the funding be considered a state or federal pass-through?
The BEAD funding program the BEAD funding administered by NTIA is a federal pass-through grant. We also have the Texas Match Assistance Program, which is funded through state funds called the Broadband Infrastructure Fund.
Got a question. Has the use of the BIF been specified as of yet, or is the BDO still reviewing?
Any information we have about the use of the Broadband Infrastructure Fund in the form of the Texas Match Assistance Program is outlined in our approved initial proposal volume 2, which is available on our website. More information and specifics about the program will be available as we continue to prepare for the subgrantee selection process. Alrighty, any questions going once? Going twice. Alrighty. If there are no other questions, we will go ahead and wrap up for the day. As a reminder, these questions will be incorporated into our frequently asked questions document that is available on our registration page for the BEAD Challenge process. We will also be having office hours tomorrow at 1 p.m. So if you have more specific questions about the challenge process and what to expect from the rebuttal phase, please feel free to join. It is an open space for you to ask all of your questions and just engage with the broadband office. And with that, thank you all so much for attending. It was a pleasure seeing all of you. Have a great rest of your day.